What is going on, everyone? Did you know that it was so hot in June that even Satan himself decided to stay in Florida? So, welcome to the shit show. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about the decades in the making. My books finally hit the shelves, on top of a couple other things as well. Now, this is your monthly dose of reality, unfiltered and unedited, as always. June, we didn't really do much. Let's just be honest. And let's address the elephant in the room as well, being the fact that it was hot as balls in the month of June for no reason. Alright, let's be real. If you're in Chicago, June felt less like summer and more like living in a convectional oven. My complex's air conditioning unit went out a couple of times, so that was fun. My dog decided that he was just not going outside because he couldn't breathe. I needed to carry my inhaler everywhere we went, and it was just a very uneventful, unaliving month. So, let's move on from the horrible dad jokes involving heat and move on to something a little bit more massive, if I should say. So, over the decade, I have been working behind the scenes on something massive, and I have finally had a breakthrough, in a sense. Now, it wouldn't be the shit show if I didn't sit over here and throw in some chaos every once in a while, so I'm going to take it a step back just a little bit. So, I have been playing with names and scenes and just overall storyboards of what I wanted my first novel, series, trilogy, whatever, to actually be. I knew that I wanted it to be LGBTQ related. I was playing with the idea on erotica versus tamed down a bit. But I knew that I needed something that was me. So, over the last several years, I actually was able to get my character, my storyline, my who, what, where, when, whys down. And it has finally all come together. And I honestly could not be more proud of it, of any of it, really, because it's like a gate finally unlocked, and I've got all of it already. So, let's start with the first one. Roland Knox. Roland Knox is officially available for sale on Amazon, and it is coming to Barnes & Noble's very soon. I actually just got that email earlier today that they approved the book for sale. We have not officially hit the bookshelves just yet because, that requires a little bit more finesse that I don't have right now, but it's coming. But even just the fact that it is officially hit the shelves, whether it be online or in store is still a huge milestone for me and something that I'm really proud of. Now, Roland Knox is the prequel, or the very short story introducing you to the character, the timeline, as well as the time period, along with a couple of other characters as well. And it leads up and leads into book one, being Knox Affair. Knox Affair is the full-length novel that will be available starting September 1st. It will be available on Amazon for Kindle and or hardcover copy. It is also going to be available on Barnes & Noble's website, along with the prequel, Roland Knox. Now, for those of y'all that have been asking, I do not have any physically signed copies. I am not keeping in an inventory. I am not keeping stacks of books in my house just because of the limited amount of space that I have already. And all of my books are printed on demand, so that way I'm not sitting over here wasting resources for them to not sell or whatever the case may be. I am also not doing this to sit over here and make a living or make millions off of it. I don't plan on being the next James Patterson or Dean Koontz or Stephanie Myers or any of the other big major fantastic ones. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, oh well, it wasn't an expectation of mine to begin with. However, I am doing this to sit over here and be able to look myself in the mirror and say, I did that. I did that with nobody's help. I did that on my own. And that, in and of itself, is a feeling that no one in this world can ever take away from you. So, on to the next one, which was also a work of mine. For those of y'all that know, my husband passed away 3 years ago this year. So this year makes 3 years without him. I started writing a grief self-help book about 9 months after he passed. It was something that I thought would help me. Turns out I ended up closing the book and not doing anything else with it until this year. And I have actually finally finished that one as well. Surviving the aftermath is exactly just that. We are consistently and constantly surviving the aftershocks, the aftermath of a suicidal death. And it is not something that is easy. It is something that is extremely time-consuming and exhausting because we are constantly on edge every single day of the week. And a lot of people don't understand this because 1 minute we're sitting over here and we're fine, and then the next minute we're in the corner holding our knees, screaming at the world, and nobody can understand it unless you physically went through it. Now, I'm going to throw this disclaimer out there just for the sheer fact that my shows are never, ever rated for anyone under the age of 17. So, if you are a listener and you are under the age of 17, please kindly skadoosh, because I don't need you hearing this, and I don't need somebody's parent coming at me saying, oh my God, you traumatized my kid. Fuck off, you shouldn't be listening to this shit anyway, because you're not old enough to understand. For me, Writing this book was my therapy. It was putting everything that I went through, everything that I lived through, everything that I continue to go through day in and day out on paper to potentially help someone else out there. These were ideas, these were thoughts, these were suggestions made by myself, my therapist, my team of doctors, as well as my friends and family to assist in getting me back to where I needed to be. And I am not fully there yet. But I am able to get out of the bed. I am able to stand on my own 2 feet without falling and hitting the floor. I'm able to actually close my eyes at night and sleep, whether it be for an hour or 2 or 10. I'm able to actually sleep without reliving that night over and over and over again. And what I mean by that is I live every day with the memory of what I saw, what I went through, what I experienced, said, did, and otherwise. I can replay that night like it is a fucking VHS tape, and all I gotta do is close my eyes and go back. I remember every single word that was said. I remember every single action that was done. I remember every single look, everything, because that night is forever etched into my brain. And all I've got to do is close my eyes and I go back. Surviving the aftermath is exactly just that. But if you take what's in that book, and if you learn from my lessons, you can move past surviving the aftermath, and you can then begin to live again. And that's the point of the book. Wow, that was deep and heavy. So, the shit of June was the fact that Chicago had a fucking heat dome. For those of y'all that have physically met me in person, that know me as an individual, y'all understand that I don't do heat. I am very much a hot-natured individual as it is. And if my core body temperature reaches above a certain level, it gets very hard for me to breathe. So when I don't like thinking about it like this, but for those of us that have seen the DC comics and understand the Batman storyline and understand who the character Mr. Freeze actually is, most days I feel like him. That is probably one character in DC Comics that I can physically relate to day in and day out because I have to be cold. I cannot be hot. I am mean. I am angry. I am borderline unable to breathe, and it is miserable. So for Chicago to be under a heat dome and go through a massive heat wave first thing in June, it made my life a living hell. Literally. Now, it's, yeah. I'm going to take a step back for just a minute because I've been doing a lot of self growth and working diligently on myself, and I'm trying to be very put together whenever I come on here. But you know what? Fuck it. This is my show. I can do whatever the hell I want to with it. Chicago's heat wave was a nightmare, yes. I'm extremely proud and super grateful for everything that I have accomplished in the month of June. But I am tired. And it's not a physical exhaustion, it's an emotional one. I'm tired. I am wore out. I am beat down. I'm tired. And I'm tired because I sit over here and I try really hard I try really hard to keep everything together. So I'm just I don't even have words for it. I'm just exhausted from work to messing up my sleep schedule to the point where I don't go to bed until 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I'm up at like 6 or 7, and then I go back to sleep for a little bit, and I get back up at 11, and then I take a nap in the afternoon. Like, I have really fucked up my life at this point. But I'm tired. And I sat over here the other day, and I thought that I thought me and this one particular individual was actually going somewhere in a positive direction, and come to find out they're back on their bullshit like they have been, and that's not okay, because I purposefully set boundaries and set expectations in the beginning before we did this again, just to be let down yet again. And like I was talking to my mom earlier, I'm like, I was like, I'm about to be a bitch. And she was like, well, why is that? And I was like, because I'm fucking over men thinking that they can just do whatever the hell they want and not actually listen to the needs and the requests of the individuals that they're beginning shit with. And I was like, I'm over it. I said, I'm tired of it, in fact. I was like, so with that being said, sorry, I'm closing my iPad because I don't need it. I was like, I'm over it. I was like, I sat over here at the beginning of this entire conversation, and I told you what I required, what I expect, and it went in one ear, bounced around your empty fucking head, and it bounced out your other ear. Like you didn't even pay attention or comprehend a fucking word that I said. And I'm not putting up with that shit no more. You either come at me correct, you come at me and you meet my expectations, you come at me and you exceed my expectations, you come at me and you meet me where I'm at, or get the fuck out of my way. Because I don't have time to play games. I don't have time to retrain somebody else's fucking kid, and I ain't got time to raise nobody's grown-ass child. I don't. I got too much shit going on. I got too many things that I'm working on. I got too much on my fucking plate. I don't have time to meet you and play with you. I ain't got time for it. Because you either gonna come at me grown or you gonna come at me as a child. And if you're a child, get your ass out my motherfucking way. Because I ain't got time for kids. I'm already raising one as it is. I don't have time to raise somebody else's kid. Not my fault your parents didn't do a good job raising you. But that's my rant for the afternoon. So, there is a lot of things that a lot of people don't know. And there's a lot of things that I play really close to the chest because I learned a long time ago you don't sit over here and you don't tell everybody your business because not everybody is going to be a cheerleader for you. And that lesson I had to learn the hard way. So if I can leave you with anything, do not tell everybody everything. It may seem weird at first. It may seem off, especially if you have a very open, candid conversation with everybody that you encounter. But do not tell everybody your business because at the end of the day, there are going to be people out there that are going to test your patience and that are going to try to watch you fail. And they will sit back with their bag of popcorn and they will have front row seats. And that lesson I had to learn the hard way years ago. Thankfully, I don't have to learn it again because I just don't tell everybody everything now. But June was a very rough month. As a whole, it was a rough month. But that's the shit show called life, right? So, with that being said, I will see you all on the next one. Let's elevate.